Thank you so much for catching back up with me. And from the first part of the video, I talked about my first 3 months in Vietnam. And this part is part 2, and it is where viewers ask me questions. I have 4 questions to answer. They're kind of deep questions, so hopefully I answer them well, and I look forward to sharing my response. So to start, I'm going to go in a random order with these questions, but the first question is, do you think you can live without electronics such as Netflix, coffee maker, dishwasher, and so on as the Vietnamese people do? Well, to answer that question, I never had Netflix in America. I only used my friend's Netflix, so I already didn't have it before. The second part, dishwasher. I haven't had a dishwasher for a year, and plus here, the school provides me with 2 meals a day, 5 days a week, so that's not really an issue. Dishes aren't a problem. I mean, maybe have like 3 dishes to ever wash, so that's not a problem. Coffee maker, I could use a coffee maker with American coffee. Here I drink instant coffee, which it's actually not bad. It's way better than American instant coffee. So I would love a coffee maker, but I've lived without it now for 3 months. That it's fine. Having a dryer would be kind of nice. I don't always like hang drying my clothes, but hey, it works, saves electricity, and clothes dry just as well, I guess. But having a dryer would sometimes be convenient. But like I said in the past video blog, I'm learning to be content with little, and not having all the modern conveniences that I'm used to, like I am from America, is a really eye-opening experience with not having so many modern conveniences. Learning how to get by, and learning that it can be done without having all those. The second question, sorry I have to look at my phone for these. The second question is, do you think Vietnamese people are happier than Americans? So to answer that question, I wouldn't say that one person is more happier than the other, but I think both people are generally happy. I think the Vietnamese people are very happy with what they have in their lives, and they've learned to make do with what they have. So I think they're generally very happy people. I also think Americans are happy, but I think something that Vietnamese people do better than Americans is Americans are not always satisfied. We're always going or wanting the next thing. Vietnamese people are very content with their lives, and they have a slower pace of life. That's fine. Americans have a faster pace of life. We like to be go, go, go. Here it's a little bit slower, a little bit more relaxed. But I think generally both sides are happy, but I think there are some things that the Vietnamese people do better than Americans. The third question is, would you be able to stay in Vietnam? To answer that question, I would love to stay. I absolutely love Vietnam. It's become like my second home. I love the people, the friendships I've formed with my friends, with students. I've really just come to love Vietnam and everything that it is. Being a kid from first world, very developed country like America, and then moving to a developing country, I thought would really shock me. I thought I wasn't going to be happy, but that has been proved so wrong. I'm very happy here, and I would love to stay again, but I can only stay if I find a teaching job that'll pay enough. I'd love to teach music, but I wouldn't mind teaching English again. And actually I want to teach English with the aid of music, and that's something I kind of can't do so much of at my current school, but I could do it with younger children. So I'm kind of looking to do something like that. I can also move on to another country if I want to, but there are benefits and disadvantages to that too. Or I could also go home to America. There are parts of America I miss, but I don't know if I'm like quite ready to move back to America. So we'll see where it goes. I'd love to stay, and I'm trying to find something that I want to stay, but I'm also torn, like if I want to go back home to America or if I want to move on to a different country. So I guess we'll all have to stay tuned for that life update whenever that happens. The fourth question, sorry, there are actually 5 questions. Question number 5, stereotypes of both sides, what Americans think of Vietnamese people and what Vietnamese think of Americans. I'll start with the perspective on Americans to Vietnamese people. Before coming to Vietnam, so many people told me, and I started to believe this, that Vietnam was going to be a very poor country. It's not well developed. It's like living in third world. People aren't going to be educated. It's going to be like living in a jungle, but that's not even close to what Vietnam is. Vietnam is a developing country. It is not developed like America, but Vietnam is developing. It is always changing, and the people, as well as like many things here, are changing. It is developing. People are very well educated here. I would honestly say some of them I would say they're just as well as educated as Americans or any other people I know. They're very educated, they believe in education, and that's something like I really appreciate about the culture, is how much they value education. It's not everyone's poor here. There are definitely poor people, but it's not as poor as I thought it was going to be. And honestly, it's nothing like you ever think it's going to be. The country has developed and changed a lot in the last like 50 years, and I'm really excited for this country and see where they go, honestly, in the next 10 years. The advances they can make, the changes, and everything. But I think, so the flip side, what Vietnamese people think of Americans, a lot of people, the 2 easiest ones, everyone's rich and well educated, which is definitely not true, and that's something I get to share about like my own personal American story. I am a first-generation college student. My family was definitely not rich, and I've worked hard for everything that I have. Not everything came easy. I definitely have had to work for a lot of things. So that's something like I've definitely gotten to share with them. Like, not everyone's rich. Not everyone's well educated. We're not all well off. Like, my country has its own flaws too. So that's something I get to share with them. And the last question is, what is my last question? It is, what do you think now about America that you have been gone for 3.5 months? And to answer that question, I actually love America a lot more now that I'm away from it than when I was living there. I have a new sense of like patriotism towards my country. I'm a little bit more sympathetic with certain issues. I view things differently. I appreciate my culture a lot more, and I've definitely realized how much American culture, English language, has shaped my own life as well as my country. And those are some things I definitely appreciate a lot more about America. I definitely appreciate her beauty, the language, the many languages, the many cultures of people. Even though we're all different, we're all one country. It's something I definitely really love about America. And I'm definitely more patriotic. Just the things that we value as a nation and who we are as people, I definitely have a stronger sense of pride in saying I'm an American. Because being an American is just as special as saying I'm Vietnamese, or I'm Hispanic, or I'm Native American. being American is very special. And so I definitely take a lot more pride in being an American, in who I am, what my country stands for, what my country's done. Although not everything is wonderful, I definitely appreciate where I come from a lot better. So those are the answers to the questions. And if you don't agree with me on something, feel free to tell me. But those are just my opinions on what I think, and I answered them on the spot. So thank you for listening to the answers to my questions, and I'll see you next time.